Well, the real problem here is the city of Oakland relies on a system that will only inspect after it receives a complaint. And many renters say they're afraid to speak up for fear they'll be thrown out on the street. We uncovered a longtime landlord with a history of dilapidated and dangerous properties and a city department that fails to adequately follow up. Behind these walls are health hazards, mold and moisture, and in the walls, rats, often killed by the family dogs. For Melissa Rodriguez, it's life.
We put all the clothes inside of the bags so they won't get mold.
Many clothes are stored in plastic tubs, and food is protected from rodents in these bins.
I'm always worried about everything.
Especially after the roof collapsed and her youngest son was diagnosed with lead poisoning.
Everybody in this family is sick because of the house.
This nurse with Alameda County says paint or other hazards could have caused Alberto's blood level to spike. The family moved from another home owned by the same landlord with some of the same conditions.
He knows about all this problem.
And what does he say?
He's gonna come and fix it, but when? When?
Two investigates found Chiku Fan owns this property along with dozens of others in Oakland. We went inside several of them, finding toilet issues and plumbing problems, kids sleeping next to mold from the ceiling to the floor, and crawling cockroaches, peeling paint, and electrical hazards. Records show code violations at his various properties dating back decades.
Rats. I'm talking rats as big as a cat.
This former renter sued Chiku Fan 20 years ago for unhealthy and uninhabitable conditions.
Never fixed anything. It was just a temporary fix.
Which is true even now.
This is the way that they're fixing.
Keeping rats out with metal mesh, replacing locks with this barn lock, and using loosely stacked bricks for stairs. Records show Oakland code enforcement issued violations, but as of last May, an inspector considered all the problems abated. How is that okay?
It's not. It needs to be investigated.
Larry Brooks runs the Healthy Homes Department for Alameda County. He says the city of Oakland doesn't have state-certified code enforcement officers and lacks a program to find issues before renters move in.
We really need to be more proactive in order to prevent those situations from occurring so that the burden isn't on the tenants.
Studies show low-income renters become trapped in the only housing they can afford. And without government coordination, problematic property owners slip through the cracks. Despite numerous attempts, the city of Oakland would not provide an on-camera interview, but describes its code enforcement as a tool to address violations that are a direct threat to life and safety. Still, we found many of those violations still exist.
It is frustrating that, we have code enforcement aware of the problems in this unit, aware that this landlord has for over a decade been a problem, but still we have these conditions existing.
Ann O'Mara represents tenants as executive director of the Eviction Defense Center. She was part of a task force that put Chiku Fan on a list of Oakland's worst rental owners. Why do you think this is allowed to continue?
That's the million-dollar question, right? Why are we letting families, and particularly children, continue to live in these types of conditions?
Mr. Fan, Brooks Droz to investigate.
Oh.
We decided to have a chat with Mr. Fan at his home.
I don't want to talk with you.
Asking about the long list of issues.
These people, they always complain.
How do you know that your manager is doing his job? Have you been inside these places?
I did not check.
If he had checked, he would see the missing smoke detectors, the door that locks from the outside. If there was a fire, we'd be trapped. This is terrible. And wall outlets that don't even work. Maybe you should go back and look at all this stuff.
Yes, I will do that.
Still, Melissa Rodriguez and her family are fed up. They're suing, hoping for a safe and healthy home, knowing they're unable to afford anything else.
That lawsuit is just they try to make money.
I'm always sad. I'm thinking a lot that what I'm gonna do to change all what we are going through.
So you're saying you've done nothing wrong?
I will not say I've done nothing wrong. Sometimes if they complain, I go take care right away.
Now that family pays $2,000 a month for rent. Two investigators visited other East Oakland tenants who were afraid to speak up. The Eviction Defense Center says landlords will regularly retaliate and kick out complaining tenants. We also found incomplete or missing enforcement records or follow-up failures with the city of Oakland. Rental advocate groups say they've seen significant problems with the city requiring an overhaul of the entire system. That's what they think it's going to take.
Some of those pictures were really unbelievable. And I know you touched on this in your piece, but you really went to great lengths to try to get someone, anyone, from Oakland to talk, and you couldn't get anyone.
I felt terrible for all these people living in these conditions. I asked repeatedly by phone, by text message. We even showed up there. And it was very discouraging to me that no one wants to take this on and talk about it, especially when it's affecting so many people in the low-income areas of Oakland.